But hello, everyone. My name is Teron Myers, Director of Operations here at SHI at Macrobiotics. Good to see everyone here. See a little familiar faces. Hi, Faina. Good to see you. So we are here tonight with our free lecture that's entitled Building a Daily Routine for Wellness. Of course, that's going to be held by Susan. But quick information regarding SHI for those who may not be as familiar, but I'm pretty sure most on the call are. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our goal and our mission is to educate and empower individuals to create lasting health through diet and lifestyle principles, which is why we have calls similar to the one that we are having here tonight, whether it's a lecture or cooking classes or even more upbuilding programs for learning. We definitely always try our best to give back and offer something for everyone to be able to attend that does not have a paywall such as this. We're always so appreciative of all those who take part, all of our donors, some of which I see that are even on this call here. And I know Susan should be back in a second, but just some quick highlights in regards to this. As I mentioned, this will be our free lecture. We'll probably try to end no later than 7:30. I would say anywhere from 45 minutes would probably be the cutoff. But this will be recorded, so in case you have to miss a little bit, I know this is kind of close to that dinner time for some people, we will have a recording of this presentation for you to be able to catch up on afterwards. It will be uploaded onto our website as well as to our YouTube channel. Though it will be recorded, we definitely hope as many of you are able to stay on as possible. For those who saw for the oh, the camera is following Susan. For some of you who saw the mention about our upcoming Women's Health Conference, we'll be talking about that a little bit more toward the end, but we are doing a free raffle. I'll be choosing two individuals. Now, this is the catch. You have to remain online for the call up until the time of at least the Q&A, and then I'll be picking two individuals that are on live to be able to receive a full registration for that conference. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. That's later this month. It's March 29th and the 30th, later on this month. Also, too, we'll have Q&A question and answer, as I mentioned. We ask that you hold your questions toward the end of the call. And I'm just going to keep everyone muted for the time being. At the end, you will have an opportunity to use your voice to ask questions, or you can pose those questions by way of the chat as well, too. And I think I already mentioned the raffle. So yeah, we'll turn it over to Susan, and she'll be able to break down our presentation, Building a Daily Routine for Wellness. And I think she's going to be focusing specifically on sleep health by way of the circadian rhythm. So thank you, Susan.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining today. I'm excited to share some information with you. It's been a while. So I wanted to focus in on building a daily routine for health and wellness. And when I was putting this presentation together, it was a little difficult because trying to really find an appropriate place to start, because it's just like everything is so interconnected that it's just hard to decide which is which. But I want to start with a quote that I'm going to read here, that I found in some of the old seminars that we did that Denny had said. So I'll share this with you. He said that creativity comes from nature. There's nothing more amazingly and wildly creative than nature itself. Our real creativity comes from aligning ourselves with nature, both with our food and daily schedule. And I would like to add that Strengthening Health Institute, our approach to a macrobiotic practice, has always really focused on very routine patterns and establishing different routines, like establishing, good rising times, good sleep times, and meal times. And that is just ever so important for really overall health and wellness. And we do really encourage everybody, if you don't have a daily schedule, then I would really try to begin to establish one. So that being said, we'll talk about circadian rhythms here. So the circadian rhythms are basically a pattern that the body follows. It's a pattern within a 24-hour day, or you could more or less call it our internal clock. And it very much has to do with sleep and waking times. But This is so important because it influences so many different other cycles within our body, like our hormone cycles are affected with that. Anybody who's of the age that has gone through a menopausal thing, sleep is sometimes one of the biggest issues. I have known other macrobiotic women and teachers that they said, you know, I didn't have like temperature fluctuations. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. But I really had problems with sleeping because your hormones are really really fluctuating, and during that time it is really particularly important to get more sleep. Just like a teenager, when a teenager reaches that pubescent area, they actually need more sleep. So if your kids, boys and girls, all the same, they require a lot more sleep during that time because the hormones are changing and the body's like very active and whatnot. And like just require rest. So not only hormone functions, but it affects our digestion, our mood, and our body temperature. When disrupted, it could cause fluctuation and change in energy levels, hormonal fluctuations, digestive changes, fluctuations in body temperature, delayed healing. When I was doing my research, that's one of the things I didn't realize. Now, specifically, we were referring to wounds, but I think that's healing on any level. Anybody who's trying to take care of their health um, really does need to like establish different patterns and just like get more rest. Getting back to the circadian rhythms, so we talked about delays in healings, and then also in some cases it could affect memory loss. um, Longer term issues, um, establishing different routines can affect your cardiovascular conditions, your nervous system, your metabolism, and gastrointestinal. So it really has to do with like a lot of different functionings, really, like our whole bodily functions. Um, Now, what affects the circadian rhythms? So basically, they're interdependent on light and dark. So what affects your circadian rhythm? Mainly speaking, your bedtime and your rising times, meal times, and activity. Those are the lifestyle practices that we're going to look at. Um, Outside factors are light and dark. So at night, our melatonin rises, and during the day, then that's suppressed by light. So what happens with all the artificial lights that's around us, and this could include like street lights. If you live in a city, then you're going to be exposed to a lot of street lights. It could include like devices, even like the lights that you have on inside your home. So especially with a lot of the new LED lights, they're much brighter. Well, all those things really, like affect our bodily functions and our circadian rhythms. So then, especially though, the light would be the blue light, hence the little blue blocking glasses. So ideally, if you're having a lot of time trouble falling asleep, then you do want to get yourself a good pair of blue blockers. And I have these guys. So these are even darker. That's an orange pair. So the darker the lens and the more orange, the better it is for like really filtering out like all of the blue light. If I'm going to watch something at night on TV, I don't usually like work on the computer at night or anything and try to stay off of devices. But if I am going to watch something on TV, then I will wear those orange glasses. And it really does make a difference. I find it much easier on my eyes. I'm much more relaxed. And I honestly don't sit in front of the TV as long because sometimes we'll get into like a good show. And I have Apple TV. So there's like different things and like the Prime Video. Some of you have Netflix and that. So you'll get into something and like you'll watch a show and be like, oh, that was so good. I'm going to watch the next episode. A lot of people refer to that as binge watching. I don't binge watch a lot of things, but sometimes I will like watch more than one episode of a series that I'm watching. And the more interesting, the more you're compelled to like watch that. But I'm fine when I wear those glasses. Um, because I'm not exposed to that blue light, my body does start producing more of the melatonin and I start to get sleepy quicker. So that's a good thing. It just like overall relaxes me more so. And I'm more apt to just like shut that TV off and then begin preparing myself for nighttime and getting like a much better night's sleep. So, other things that affect that are temperature. If your room is too cold or too hot, both of those things can like really affect how well you're able to relax at night. When it's too cold, some people don't mind cold rooms. I prefer a cold room for sleeping, and I don't keep my home overly hot or anything. But if your room is too warm, especially depending on the type of heat you have, it's going to affect your sinuses and it's going to disturb your sleep. The same thing applies to if it's too cold. If it's too cold, then your body contracts at night, especially in affecting your like your pancreas and your kidneys. That contracts a little bit more, and then oftentimes people may wake up in the middle of the night and may have to use the bathroom. So that's one of the things that if people do have to do that and wake up and use the bathroom, that you can look at that and look at maybe like the temperature. I keep my house pretty much around it, saying it's 71 right now, but I keep the thermostat at 69 pretty much all day. I live in a South Philly row home, so I'm actually fortunate here to have the hot water radiant heat, which I really like. I think that's a lot less drying and better for us overall. But the upstairs is going to get a lot warmer at night. So my preference is to keep the thing like cooler. Some people like to like adjust that temperature or have it set on a timer where it goes down even more so. But then what happens is that's not as energy efficient. So I think it's better to just kind of keep it at just like the same temperature. I do the same thing with air conditioner in the summertime, and I personally am not a big fan of air conditioners. So I usually there's a big period of time in the spring and the fall where I don't have anything. I have no heat on, and I'm not using the air conditioner, and I'll just like maybe use like windows or ceiling fans are really nice to circulate some air and leave the house like air out during the day because that's important too to get a lot of good air flow and fresh air and circulation in your home. So, um, said that too. Then our physical activity. It's very important to be more active. Getting outside in nature, especially early in the morning, suppresses melatonin. Um, so when we are expose ourselves to that morning sunlight, it activates different triggers where well, first of all, it's like great because we can absorb a lot of vitamin D at that time, but it also you can use like light therapy where you're literally like just like looking at the sun light for a little bit or looking up in the sky, not long for a little bit. That activates and stimulates your eyes too. So that helps with eyesight as well. Something that I don't necessarily practice that in the winter time, but in the summertime, I do like to do that. I'll go outside in the morning. I'll let my cats out. And then, like I'll go outside too with them and just like look at the flowers and the vegetables that I'm planting. I check everything out. And that's just like a really nice time to just like be outside and just enjoying a little bit of the fresh air. And I do that no matter what, like I start that in the springtime. Even right now, we had some warm days. So I'll just like go outside and just like be outside for a little bit. I find it to be just like really pretty comfortable. And I think that's a very good way to acclimate yourself to the different temperatures as they begin to change through the seasons. Then physical activity, um, basically, you want to get enough exercise so that you're moving not just externally, but like something also that moves your internal energy too. Um, And the type of exercise that you do throughout the day also will affect your appetite. How you know that your exercise is working for you is if you feel good while you're doing it, but you're not like starving or famished when you go to have like your meal times. So basically, if you're craving good quality food and not craving junk food, then your activity is probably more balanced. But the moment you start craving some just like crazy things like extra sweets or like dense like hard baked things or even things like chocolate, a lot of people will check this, which is consist really just like fat and sugar together, then oftentimes that's an indication that your activity may be just like a little bit off, and maybe your activity is just a little too strenuous. So it should be a nice balance of activity, something that's just relaxing you but keeping you physically fit. um, I'll use yoga for example. There's so many different styles and practices of yoga, and it's like really, really a wonderful practice. But not every practice is suitable for each individual. Like while one practice might be suitable for one person, that same practice may be, like too strenuous for somebody else. So you really have to find out like what works for you. And, like sometimes you need to play with it a little bit. Late night or vigorous exercise at night is one of the things that can also really affect our sleep patterns. When you do things that are too strenuous at night or engage in activities that really, like increase your adrenaline. So I'll use again myself as an example here. I'm an avid baseball fan, and well, within the last couple of years, they changed the start times of baseball games. So they start much earlier. But I remember like going to games where like it may not start till like 8, or if something's like on the West Coast, something starts and then you're engaged. If something that's like really, really like exciting and whatnot, you're kind of like this, and you're all tense, and you have to like wait till you calm down. So I would like come home from a physical game, and depending on like what was going on there, like I wasn't tired at all. I was just like wide awake. So that's not necessarily a good thing. While it's like wonderful to go out and do things that are fun, you don't want to regularly engage in activities that are just going to keep you awake at night. Same thing. I know that like some people would do like Ashtanga yoga and do this a very vigorous practice at night, and then end up like staying up, like pretty late. Like once in a while, like it's a good time. Say you went to a concert or you went out dancing or something, and you had fun, and maybe you danced enough that you're tired when you go home. But if you're engaging in something regularly that's keeping you awake and preventing you from just like relaxing when you go home, that's not a really great thing. So then we also have late night eating. So sleep is our restorative process. That's the time when our body cleans and repairs itself. In order to do that, your stomach really needs to be empty. So ideally, you want to wait about 3 hours before you get into bed. Now, that being said, too, if you are going to watch a movie or something on TV and you're sitting there in one of those recliners or with an ottoman, that immediately slows down your metabolism and you're not going to be able to digest the same. So, ideally, the best thing to do if you have that luxury, if you could take a nice little walk after dinner, that's like wonderful. Um, Great nighttime practice. If you don't have that luxury and you just want to relax and you want to watch something, then try to keep both feet on the ground, or at least one feet on the ground. You could also, if you're flexible enough and you enjoy it, you could sit up in your chair or your sofa and cross your legs. Having your legs crossed is another thing that keeps your metabolism a little bit more active. But really, you want that your body to have your food mainly digested by the time you get into bed. Um, Anything that's not digested, like say you ate a meal and you just couldn't like you just couldn't keep your eyes open. So you fall asleep after an hour. That can oftentimes produce disturbed sleep, and you may end up waking up in the middle of the night. But it can also produce stagnation in the whole digestive process. And anything that's not digested actually goes to the liver and affects your liver too. So, and thus affecting fat metabolism. So you really want to, um, that's one thing that, like I think we do have control over, like just stopping eating. The same thing goes for rich foods. Ideally, you don't want to have like really super rich foods or salty foods before bedtime. Uh, that totally interferes with sleep, and another thing that can wake you in the middle of the night. I know some people that eat like really super rich foods and then they're wakened by like weird dreams. That's not an uncommon thing. So be aware of what you're doing and how things affect you, and just adjust where you need to adjust. And then the other outside factor is stress. So stress in and of itself plays a very big factor in being able to relax. One of the things that I like to do is I try to find like a meditative practice before nighttime. So that also gets me off of like TV much earlier, because I do like to say a prayer at night, and I like to just like free my mind of all the different worries of the day. I like to let that go. So in different spiritual practices, I know oftentimes that like we would sit, and we would sit like seiza before we would chant or something. We used to do that a lot of times before classes. And the person leading things often would say like empty mind. All right, empty mind. It was always empty mind. So that whole process of empty mind, I think that's really, like literal. That the more we can empty our mind and free our mind of anything that isn't serving us well, the more we'll be able to relax. And you could even take that into the next day if you do a practice in the beginning of the day and try to release anything that's like worrying you or stressing you out. That also allows you to focus in on the things that you need to get done or that you really like want to get done. So stress is a really big thing, that you want to try to just like do your best to de-stress. No, it's easier said than done, but like I said, I find a nighttime prayer routine and meditation routine just like the best thing for that. And I'm very vigilant with that. I even, as far as like ask the Lord to bless me with a good night's sleep. And you know what? It works. It works. Especially like the more you do it, the longer you do it, the more you get good results from that. So then we'll get into like practical guides we can do to set up our circadian rhythm and feel more energetic. So obviously at night, what you can try to do is go to bed a little bit earlier than you normally would. So set your time, and you could just like do this gradually to work things. You know, I confess again, I'm more of a night owl. I like staying up a little bit later. I'm in bed like by midnight usually, or before midnight. But I'm working on trying to do things to actually get up even like earlier than what I do, because I've found that when I do get up earlier, I just really get a lot more done. And believe me, there's like a lot to do here. So I've been working on 15 minutes, like every night, just try to go to bed 15 minutes a little bit earlier than what I did till I hit the time where ideally I would like to be in bed. So for me, I'm fine with being in bed and ready to sleep. So it's not just like being in bed, but being like ready, like for rest, like by 11. When I do that, It really just like helps me just get a little bit more sleep, but I've noticed that I'm waking earlier. You want to limit your screen time at night. So about an hour before you get into bed, you really want to like have like your devices turned off. Get yourself a pair of the blue blockers. Like if you're like really serious about it for nighttime, like I use these during the day when I'm on the computer or Zoom or anything, even if I'm scrolling through my phone, because in some ways, like the cell phone is like even more detrimental than like a desktop, and I think a laptop is more. If you watch shows on your iPad or on your laptop, don't put that directly on your lap. You want to have a barrier in between there. Ideally, you want to set that on a desk because you're exposing yourself to all that radiation and all the EMFs. And it's more and more, like this is not a conspiracy. More and more you're hearing things about, like EMFs. For those who don't know, that that's electrical frequencies that like are emitted from cell phone towers, from our devices like these guys that we carry around in our pocket all the time. I can even say, like, if I put this in my bag and I'm going from point A to B, I'll put it on airplane mode. At night, you probably want to consider to even turn your devices off. If you can't remember to turn your device off, and your Wi-Fi is probably like one of the most important things. You can get little timers in any of like the Lowe's, Home Depot, or different like hardware stores. Ace, Track. I don't think Tractor Supply would have that, but I know Ace Hardware does. But it's just a little device that you can plug in and you can attach that to your router, and then you set it for a time where you want that to go off. And then that will turn off your computer. That will turn off, like your TV and everything. So there's no cable after that hour. And, like you can change it from time to time if you are a sports fan again, like you may want to set that just a little bit later for the summertime, because like I said, I'm a baseball fan, West Coast. There's that big time difference there, but I would definitely highly recommend that, because it's much easier than just like constantly remembering to plug or unplug a device. Uh, Even if you have a little Faraday bag, you can turn this off and put it in a Faraday bag, because, like, in a lot of the research that I've been doing, often these devices still emit electromagnetic frequencies even when they're turned off. So it's pretty crazy, but that's the way it is. You can swap out your bright light bulbs for rooms that you spend time in at night. I still try to find the original bulbs, the incandescent bulbs. They're really hard to find. I don't think they don't make them anymore. So at one point I went on a site called lightbulbs.com and ordered a case of incandescent light bulbs. And I don't like have lights on a lot, so hopefully they'll last for a while. But what you can do in different rooms, yellow lights, they make different yellow lights, or the red light, because that's not going to uh, show off like the blue light. That's going to expose you to the blue light. And the red light is like bright enough that if you do enjoy just like reading at night rather than watching something, you can still read by that. And then you don't have to wear like the blue blockers, because like the red light will be perfectly fine. If you can't find them, you can actually find those light bulbs in pet stores, because oftentimes they'll put those in like reptile cages, or sometimes like some like hamster cages, things. So the hamsters and the pets get better lights than we do. If you live in the city, or if you're near an exposed street light, I would highly recommend blackout curtains. Now, they black out a lot. I still get maybe a little light like at the top there. So as the sun begins to come up, like I will see that. No, I do not get up before the sun. I mean, some people do. If you have An alarm clock. Beware of the alarm clocks too, because like a lot of the alarm clocks, they have that like blue light too. Some you can find with red, but it's very, very difficult to find the ones with red. And a lot of them anymore are even connected to like Wi-Fi. So I wouldn't recommend one that's connected to Wi-Fi. Use the old-fashioned one, or just like really start trying to like, like wake up on your own. I almost never use an alarm clock. I generally do that if I know I have to get up like super early, much earlier than what I normally do. Keep your house, as I said, at a nice, comfortable temperature. Um, too cold is not good, but too hot is not good either. If you do live in a city, then um, you probably do need some type of air conditioner, because a lot of the cities, it just gets too hot. And, I know we try to live as naturally as we can, but too hot's not great. Now, that being said, again, if it's 90 degrees out and you have your house at like 70 or 60 degrees and you go outside, are you going to be more affected by the heat? Yes, you are. So I would keep it, like maybe like a lot warmer during the daytime, and then maybe, or even keep some things off and keep it like cool at the nighttime. One of the things you can do, depending on your unit, you can have it run as a dehumidifier, because oftentimes, depending on where you live, it's really the humidity that's the problem more so than heat. So I would just experiment with that too. And then, of course, you want to stop eating at least 3 hours before getting into bed. Do your personal hygiene practices a little bit earlier. I don't know about you, but um sometimes I will like maybe like to wash my face, or if you give yourself a little bit of a body rub, instead of making me sleepy, that can stimulate me and wake me up a little bit. Same thing with like brushing my teeth, because I have a water flosser. I like that the water that comes out of the faucet, it's cold. I have a whole house water filter, so I don't have like a thing of water sitting there. And what I always use like the fresh water. I don't have like one of those tanks. So I use water directly out of the faucet. It's cold, and that's good for your gums because it tightens things up, but at the same time, that will wake you up a little bit. So ideally, you want to do those personal hygiene practices a little bit earlier. Now, the one thing that may make you a little bit more drowsy, it could be a hot bath or a nice hot shower before bed. So a lot of people like doing that as well. And then prepare yourself mentally and emotionally for that restful time. Here again, a simple prayer and meditation practice is very, very relaxing. When I say meditation, so it's not just like like a mental thing too, but that's a physical thing as well. So you can practice different breathing techniques where you just like breathe in. Not everybody's familiar with yin yang here, but it's a breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And when you breathe, draw the air up like into your head and allow it to circulate down and in, way up into the head and out. When you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, that actually relaxes your mind. If your body is tense, you can do things like this, like tense up and then, or really tighten up and do that like a couple times. You could combine the two. That's perfectly fine to do that. That also really relaxes the back of your neck too. Same thing with your face. Scrunch your eyes really tight and then relax them. Breathing in through the mouth and out through the mouth relaxes your body. So there's two different types of breathing there that you can practice. And then I like to say a prayer, being thankful for the day, thankful for my life, thankful for my family, and anything else I want to think about, or praying for other people too. When you pray for other people, that lifts you up as well. And really, we do have a lot to be thankful for. We're here, right? Um, then those are the nighttime practices. During the day, try rising a little bit earlier. And don't set, if you do use an alarm, don't set the snooze setting. Earlier rising times, which means actually getting out of bed and moving around. Some people will wake up, but they'll like lay there for a bit. Now, the exception might be if you are laying there and doing a morning meditation practice. Morning, especially if you wake up really early, it seems to be a very, very peaceful time because nothing's going on. So, especially again, I live in the city and my house is actually pretty quiet. Um, my street's not like overly noisy. I mean, you hear some cars like getting ready to go to work, but I just find that time is usually still a little dark out, where it's very, very peaceful. So sometimes I'll say a little prayer and then go into just like a relaxing gratitude practice or meditative practice. And I find that just like a really nice way to start the day. Um, Sadly, sometimes when I do that, I fall asleep. So for me, like while I love that practice, it's better if I do actually try to like get out of bed. And then um, like moving around too. Uh, Getting ready when you get up earlier and you start moving and actually doing something that is going to activate your metabolism. So that's like, like a good practice if you're concerned about like maintaining like an appropriate weight too. And then you can have your hygiene practices. So good morning hygiene practices, good morning prayer and meditation practice. I usually do that first. Then I do a good morning hygiene practice. And then any physical activity that you can do. So, especially if you can get outdoors in the morning and capture that morning sun, that's just like a very great way to align with nature while getting like some vitamin D in there and exposure to the sun, and really, again, helping you to set your different patterns. In addition, any outside activity that you can do, no matter what time of day, um, it really helps your mental and emotional state. So I hope you can consider any of the things that I said today. I hope this was helpful. And I'm ready to take some questions.
Thank you.
Hey, hi, Susan, and thank you for doing this tonight. Hope you're doing well. Any advice for those of us who, you get to sleep well, but then you wake up and then just can't fall back to sleep? That's like, it's a tough one.
Uh, yeah. So like, you want to look into a lot of different things. First of all, you want to look into like, like where your diet's at. Uh, as far as like, are you getting too much salt? And I would go through everything that you're doing, like, and that includes salty condiments and that. So especially salty liquid in the nighttime can affect that because the salty liquid is going to affect your kidneys more so.
Hmm.
Together with that, sugar sometimes can do it too.
Okay.
Sugar turns to liquid in the body. When we have too much liquid, it interferes with our sleep patterns. And then honestly, so I would look at that, and I really would highly recommend, if you're not already doing it, some type of meditative relaxation and prayer practice at night.
Okay. All
I
right,
think
great.
it
Thank you.
makes a huge difference.
Hmm. Okay, great. Thank you. Lots of room for improvement for me, I'm sure.
There is for everybody.
Yep. Thank you.
Right, thank you. And Annie, I see you have a question, and then I'll take Patricia's question after that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, how
Suzanne,
are you?
good, very good. Thank you. Suzanne, I wanted to know, where did you buy your glasses?
Oh my, so I got these from the Health Ranger store. These are Groovy Bees.
Where
A
did you
company.
get them?
I got these from the Health Ranger store.
I would love to know, can you order them online or not?
You can order them. I know they have them on Amazon. The thing is, you don't want to buy actually a cheap pair, and a lot of eyeglass places will have them. These weren't very expensive, but the company is Groovy Bee, literally Groovey, and then bee like a bumblebee.
Okay.
Groovy Bee.
Groovy Bee.
Groovy
Okay.
Bee. They have a lot of different things. So they have like they have different like you can get like goji berries, dried goji berries, a lot of and like like hemp protein type like powders and stuff like that.
Yes,
They have a lot
yes.
of like food products too, and they run a
Okay.
good line of vitamin B12.
Okay.
There's
I
a
will
lot of
check out.
yeah.
Thank you.
And then these guys, I can ask Nathan. Nathan is Denny's oldest son, and he's really big into EMF researches, but I got like the orange glasses from him.
Okay.
When I wear these and I'm looking at the TV, it makes almost like no difference because your TV resolution, it's going to be like a bright resolution, especially if it's like in HD. But when I put these on, it really like softens everything, and I don't mind it
Okay.
because it's just like I can if I take these off and put these on, I can feel the difference immediately in my eyes.
And Groovy Bee and for the iPhone is good, huh?
I'll
Is
have to
good.
find out like what company, because he had given me like a discount code for the other ones.
Okay.
So I have to ask
So,
the brand name of those.
okay. So let me know. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you very much.
Yeah, keep after me and remind me of that one.
Okay.
All right, looks like we have a question in the chat. The question is, what is does it
A
say
Faraday bag? There was one question about a Faraday bag. Okay, so kind of the cool thing about this is they actually protect your device too. If you're trying, so this one's for an iPhone. And the company is Silent Pocket. So if you open it up, and it'll say Silent Pocket right there. See that? And then I have the larger phone right now that it fits in there, but like not so easily without the case because the way the gadget is in the newer phones, it turns it on. And this one's for an iPad. So it's the same thing. This is also Silent Pocket.
So you use those when you're not using your device in your house?
Well, usually I keep this in there, and this device is not my iPad is not connected to, like, I don't have cellular on my iPad. So if the router's off, the iPad's not gonna. So when if I'm gonna use it in the morning, I actually have to like resync it. It won't sync. And then this is something that actually had bought this for Denny. So that's also Silent Pocket. So a lot of the new key fobs, like thieves get more and more creative. They were using like some device that they could like actually open cars because you have a lot of the new cars you can just like start electronically. You don't have to put a key in the thing. I have an old one, but this fob still opens it for. So that's something for a key fob. So that's a very good thing that you could easily carry, and then you know where your car keys are in your bag. But you can do this, and then that prevents like any electronic thing from trying to decode your keys too.
That's a silent pocket too.
That's a Silent Pocket too. And then I even have like a RFID like wallet and that, so that like cards can't be scanned. You can buy different devices for like passports if you travel.
Okay.
Or you can buy bags. What do I have? A pack safe bag, and that's like good for travel because it has metal in the crossbody thing. They make men's bags and they make women's bags, and men's bags are really nice. But they're one of the pockets, or sometimes two of them, is going to be RFID, which is like a Faraday bag in there as well. And then I think Bagolini makes some of those too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mateo, get down. Sorry.
Are there any other questions at this time? I'm going to check the chat again. Once again, if you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself and I can call on you directly. You can also, Vicky, did you have a question? Okay, yes, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
You mentioned that LED lights. You said they were good for you or not good for you? I missed.
Not good.
So, what type of lights do you recommend?
I mean, I still like incandescent, but they're really, really difficult to find.
Yeah, they are.
So if you can't find them, which maybe you can find them online, I would still get like, just honestly go into a store. If you're near a Lowe's, they have like a whole thing, a whole section, and they'll show like the different brightnesses. And some things are more similar to that of like day, but it's a softer light. But a lot of times you go into these buildings and it's like so fluorescent that by the time you're done there, I'm just like exhausted. It really, really drains your energy. I don't know how some people work.
My eyes.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It hurts your eyes and it drains your energy. You can get like blue blockers. These are slightly tinted. You can get ones that the blue light filter is right in there, and they look like just like regular like reading glasses or just like glasses. If you do wear glasses, you can get a blue light filter built right in there. So that's not a bad thing to do. And then they have other things, that programs that you can run, like on your desktop or your laptop, that you can download and run for that too.
Yeah, I've done that with the computer. It's just some of the lights in my house, like in my bathroom, is certain areas in the house. I'm like, this is too bright for me. I look for like amber or yellow lights.
When I go to so my brother-in-law and sister, they like everything like fluorescent bright, and it just like, it literally, like, I find it like just like confuses you after a while too, because it just like drains your energy, so like malls tend to be like that or whatever. Not that I spend time in malls or anything, but
And you also mentioned, what I do, I turn my phone completely off, and I don't leave it in the same room. I put it in a different room or far away from where I sleep. But I'm glad you mentioned the watch. Like most of us wear Fitbits. And I don't use it for an alarm. It's just there it basically tracks your sleep and breathing.
Yeah, so like the Apple Watch, like all those different things, that's gonna affect different things. Plus you have that device right on there. So there's a company called Blue Shield, BLUE, and Shield, a separate word. Yeah, we've had this for years. I mean, we both did a lot of research on this, but Nathan did a lot, and I used to like talk to Nathan a lot about it. So here's a little device I have. And it came with two of these guys. And so it's on the website, like Blue Shield. I think it's BLUSH Shield. So this is the U1. And the device, it's expensive. It's like $1,000 some, but it comes with a cube. And it looks like a little thing that I have, like the blue cube. It's this color, but now the new ones are black, but it's the same technology. And then it comes with two of these. You can just buy a cube, or you could just buy like one of these that you can, like recharge, because it comes with its own special type of charger. But if you buy the cube, then two of these, it's a bundle. So that's supposed to like emit a different frequency that helps to counterbalance that of 5G. So I've had that God, I've had that for like a number of years because Denny and I were researching that for a while, and we both had thought that we felt better, we slept better after we got the thing, and I carry this like everywhere. So I have two of them, and the little green light means that it starts to blink red when it needs to be recharged. I had bought him a watch. So there's actually a watch by Blue Shield that it does the same thing. It's more manly, but I'll wear that when I go to different like events that you have to like go through a metal detector because somebody might look at this and be like, "What's that?" Like you're just weird. So I'll just like wear this wristwatch on there, but it has the same thing, and then it has like like you set it and whatnot. So it's a cool looking watch, but it's definitely more like manly. But like whatever, I don't care if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And I'm a small woman, so like if like you're a little bigger than me, it probably wouldn't make much of a difference. But
Small wrist.
yeah, you could look into like something like that as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Sure.
and just take this last question here. What is the better of the LED lights if one has to use them?
I like the softer ones, the ones that are a little bit more like yellowish. Just like that's what I have. Well, the ones I have here, these are all incandescent that I have. They're just not very bright. But I mean, it doesn't matter. It's my dining room. Everything I have down here right now, I think is an incandescent, except maybe like the one torch light there that I don't. But yeah, I just go and I looked at the whole spectrum. That's why I said if you go to one of the big box stores, I kind of like in Philadelphia, I like the Lowe's better than the Home Depot because I can find what I'm looking for and the people are like the service is better. But they have a thing and they'll show all the different lights and then they'll like show like the spectrum and whatnot. So what I have here are the ones that are a little softer. And then in the room, in my bedroom, I have these two like yellow lights. And I have one like soft, like regular incandescent light. Because if I do need light during the day, the yellow lights are really like funny. They don't give off like very, very good light. Oh, she says she can get the old style lights. Yeah, they're like hard to find. But I mean, you could sometimes find them, like online. There are places depending. It all has to do with the size that you want, and then the wattage too. So a lot of the candelabra lights that fit into different things, they're often incandescent. So in my bathroom, I have incandescent lights.
All right. Well, I
And then,
think
I was gonna say I have a little light too, like a little light that I'll put on too, like if I am gonna watch TV. So that has like it's like this stained glass, and that's yellow, and it's such like a thing. So that like then gives off yellow too. So it's much more calming. I've just been trying, like different practices. Um, just do you hear that? Does everybody hear that? Those are my cats, like chasing one another. It's like,
all right, so I think we're going to come for a close at this moment. As I mentioned at the onset, we are going to do our free raffle for those who are able to maintain and stay on the call. But for those who are not even aware of the conference that we do have, I'm pretty sure most of you are, because that's probably how you're able to register at least for this call tonight. So you are on our newsletter or at least follow us on socials. We are at the end of this month, as I mentioned at the beginning, March 29th and March 30th, we're having our second annual Women's Health conference. Specifically during this time of the year, which is actually the month of March is Women's History Month. And Susan, definitely, if you want to share a little bit about that, for sure, you can.
mhm.
share a little bit, and then we'll go right into the raffle. I know we have a lot of great individuals who are going to be presenting on various different topics. If you've already taken a look, or if you have not seen on the website, we're going to have of course, as usual, different cooking classes that are going to cover different themes. Classes on grief, classes on gratitude, general wellness, personal care as well too. A lot of different things. Some speakers that are going to look familiar. Obviously, Susan will be here. Some of you may be familiar with Mary McCabe, and we'll have some other presenters that we've had in the past as well too returning, as well as some people who are new for the first time that should be speaking with us. So it's definitely going to be a very, very upbuilding, enlightening event. As usually with most of our conferences, just a way to connect different people from different states and occasionally too even from different countries as well. We've always had a lot of great feedback with those conferences. But yeah, Susan, definitely if you wanted to share a little bit, and then
Yeah.
a raffle for close.
Yeah. So when I first got the idea to do this, I wanted to make the conference just like very, very different and different from other macrobiotic like events and macrobiotic conferences. And basically, what Tehran and I are trying to do with the direction of SHI is really to think about overall wellness. So that includes like a lot of different practices, all of which, like are part of macrobiotics. Obviously, like anything I cook, even if it's spaghetti, it's going to be done with balance and principles of macrobiotics, because that's my background. That's what I teach. And I keep telling people that, all food, and I shouldn't say all food, most dishes, most cooking that like you do, if it's organic and you're sourcing good quality ingredients and it's done with the principles of balance, then that's macrobiotics. It doesn't have to be like brown rice and nishime and miso soup to make it macrobiotics. Macrobiotics really includes foods from around the world globally. But there's also a lot of different practices. So it doesn't just have to be like Qigong or Asian style practices, or, like chanting for spirituality. There's a lot of practices and a lot of other things that I wanted to look at when we started doing this. So been trying to like just think of, like people that I admire and people that like, like I've been associated with and have spoken with personally over the years, like products that I really like, to share that with people. Because as women, we're always looking for like a good quality skin and hair care products, right? You're looking for a good quality soap. There's even a thing on like Instagram or YouTube about toilet paper, right? And a lot of the companies that we too like had once relied on, they're no longer practicing ethical things, because like even Seventh Generation, I think that was sold. Burt's Bees sold. Tom's of Maine sold. So you can go down the list of a lot of these different companies. They sold out, and they are not corporate. So those are things that you really want to look at every little ingredient and do your own research in detail of what's in that product, especially if you're putting it on your hair or your skin, or like private parts. In the case of toilet paper, I had switched to the bamboo stuff like a couple years ago, and now like that's becoming kind of like the rage. And I liked it like better. So it's interesting. There's a lot of different interesting things. So yeah, we're looking at different spiritual practices, because really like my feeling is that was just like too overlooked within macrobiotics, that like everything was like so self-reliant. Oh, and like, oh, we can do this, like you can do this on your own. And I'm going to tell you, no, you can't. No, you really can't. Like this is, you're not on like your time, you're on God's time. And anybody that tells you different, then like they're just like fooling themselves. So we really have a lot like to think about, and a lot to study, and feel like we have two different spiritual practices here. One of my best friends from the 5th grade, she's going to do something and share us with like dealing with grief. Something that, like we've all faced. Some of us have faced more so than others, and some people it could be in anticipation of grief. That like your loved ones are getting up there in age. And like how when things like that are unresolved, how can that affect us? Because that affects like our whole being. And it's not just something that comes and goes, but it's like, or that, it's here now, like a year later, it's gone, or 2 years, like people could suffer through that for like many, many years. So how do we cope? How do we deal with that? And then another good friend, Cheryl, she's been macrobiotic for like a very, very long time. She was one of the chefs at a scene and for the original uh, summer conferences, that the ones that Denny and Howard and Mary Snyder had all organized, the Mid-Atlantic summer conferences, and she was one of the chefs there. So, but she's more into different like spiritual practices, so she'll be sharing with that. I just like had the pleasure of her just like being the main spokesperson and giving just like a really nice talk at Denny's memorial. So I'm really excited to have her back. And then like a number of other people. Mary's been around the macrobiotic community for a really, really long time. And she's like spunky and it's got a lot of spirit and just like has just like a lot of knowledge. We have very different styles of cooking, both aware of one another's things. And like I think that like I'm excited, like I have a lot of respect for Mary, and just I'm excited to have her with. And then there's a couple other people also with like self-care practices and whatnot. And hopefully I got a confirmation, but there's a holistic veterinarian that I'm involved with. One of my good friends who does yoga, so she specializes, if anybody's in the Manhattan area, she specializes in back problems and neck problems. I don't know, show me one person that doesn't have a back problem, right? Almost everybody gets a tight back here and there. But she also specializes in spinal things and scoliosis, like for like people of all different ages and walks of life. And she's very world renowned in what she does. So it's a interesting, fun lineup. And she's been macrobiotic. She's taken our year-long courses, and a very close friend, an associate of Karen Stefan, who also has been macrobiotic for a long time. For any of you who are macrobiotic for a while, I didn't know. I'm rarely ever on social media, not my thing. But I did log into Facebook the other day and saw that Maggie Cottrell passed away. So if we could all, she was 96. That's like a very good long life. And she was just like a very interesting ball of fire. If you've ever had the pleasure of meeting with her, I had the pleasure of not just like meeting with her, hanging out with her at teachers' conferences and seminars, but dancing with her too. She's a great dancer and a lot of fun. So like, just like send her well wishes in your prayers. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll just like have one moment of silent meditation here. So let's just like close our eyes. And we'll say, thank you, Maggie, for your service to many, many people and your teachings, and for your love of humanity. Your love shined through in your spirit in so many ways. May you rest peacefully and happy travels. Amen. So that's all I have, unless you have more questions.
No, we don't have time for any more questions at the moment. But for sake of time, I already did the raffle winnings on the back end. I just want to be respectful of everyone's time. So the winners that we have for the Women's Health Conference, we have Patricia Becker. So congratulations. And we also have Annie as well, too, who are both winners for the conference. So 2 full registrations. You'll be included in the emails that will go out with the links in the coming weeks or whatnot. I also linked in there in the chat for those who have not already seen the website about that particular event. We still do have early bird pricing that's taking place right now, so discounted for the regular full registration. If you're a client of Susan, which I think we have at least maybe 1 or 2 people, I've also sent out special discount codes specifically for that as well too. But even too, just reach out to me. If you have any other questions about pricing or any questions about the event in itself or any type of courses that we're doing right now presently, feel free to send an email. You can also call us as well too. And also, just a final note, as I mentioned, of course, this is being recorded. So I will have the recording available. What is it? Wednesday? I would say no later than Friday afternoon. We'll have this recording out so individuals can be able to rewatch. It'll be sent in the form of an email. And as I mentioned, it'll be uploaded to our website as well as to our YouTube channel. So by all means, if you want to send your appreciations to Susan, you can unmute yourself and share those appreciations. You can share them in the chat. And we look forward to seeing you at the conference as well as our other events that will be taking place throughout the rest of the season. So thank you for tuning in tonight, everyone.
Oh,
Thank
I
you.
will say, I'm gonna talk. My cooking class is gonna focus on antioxidants and different unique foods, things that you probably, like how to incorporate those things in your macrobiotic dishes.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you very
very much.
Much.
Have a
Thank
good
you
night.
so much. That was
Right.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Got homework now.
That's right.
Thank you. It was great.
You're welcome. I'm sorry about the cats.
I never
Like,
seen
oh
you
my
before,
gosh.
but you're just great. I just enjoyed your lecture. Your great personality. You're so beautiful. It's so great.
Thank you. So like now, like I think the cats are like laying down. They finally have calmed down. It's like, you know what? And if I would have been eating, Mateo would have pestered me while I'm eating. He likes macrobiotic food too. And I mean pretty much everything. And the other cat would have gone, like shoot, Lulu would have gone to sleep. But instead, I'm on a Zoom thing, so we're crazy. Okay,
Susan, cats and you go together. If you,
I think so.
if you wouldn't hear cats, it's not you, right?
Yeah, hey, I'm hoping to do like some face-to-face classes here, like in the house here, some like maybe like cooking weekend. So like be fun. Anybody that comes can meet them in person.
Yeah. I miss that good time.
Me too. Me too. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you very